I'm James from Yoga Plus Therapies, and today I just wanted to share with you a few quick tips on how to strengthen those wrists. Wrist can cause us a lot of troubles, especially if you're doing practices like yoga where you're trying to take load through your arms and you're finding that it's giving you a bit of discomfort or you're not able to do that. Or if you're wanting to build up your upper body strength by doing some push-ups or activities like this, then it can be really helpful to develop a little bit of wrist strength. So I'm just going to show you 5 pretty quick tips on how you can do that. The first one is to get some mobility into the wrists. Quite simply, make a light fist, support your other hand around the wrist and then circle. Small, becoming larger, smooth circles of the wrist. You can do it up to 10 times one way and then reverse it. This helps to get the mobility into your wrist, which is quite important when you're going to do the strength exercises. It's good to do it on both sides, making sure you're getting that full movement, and be mindful that sometimes one side can be quite different to the other one. Good. Now, we're going to just do a little bit of work to get those muscles working that helps to extend our wrists. So with the arm out, we just want to try to get that working so that you can extend through those wrists. And as you do that, we're going to just make light tiger claw action. So the tiger claw is like we're just trying to curl those little tips in, extending and releasing. Helps to get a little bit of mobility and also starting to wake up the stability muscles in your wrists. That's good. Now, we're going to be doing the tiger claw action, and it's really important to know what we mean by this. So if you think of the last joint of your finger, what we're trying to do is do this action where we're just flexing that tip. If we don't do it properly, the opposite tends to happen is the joint goes backward the other way. So it's really important to have that tip tucked in so that when you're taking that weight through your hands, those fingers are curling in, along with the thumbs as well. So you're going to spread your fingers, place them on a stable surface, and then just curl those tips into the surface. And then you imagine you're going to try to squeeze them together. But they can't squeeze because they're active against the surface. So when we do this action, we call it isometric. So it's where you can feel the contraction of the muscle, but it's actually not moving. Let's take a few isometric tiger claw actions. So holding, feel the muscle work, and then relaxing. Make sure it's a full release and relax. Try it again. Curl those little joints to make sure it's not flexing the wrong way. Now, as you get stronger with tiger claws, you can challenge it by taking load. So you could come onto your hands and knees, and you could do a tiger claw with one hand, so there's a little bit of weight on one side. The other side, or you might even be able to take 2 tiger claws and get stronger. And very strong people might even be able to do like a push-up. But that's quite advanced. That's what we call ninja level practice. And it's very important never to push yourself too quickly. You should always feel stable, and there should be no pain or discomfort as you make progression. Now, another important practice for building up wrist strength is just to get those grip muscles working. If you've got a very weak grip, you could start with something easy like a stress ball. So you can just hold and do some light squeezing. And what's important about this is when you squeeze, notice how the wrist has that slight extension. This is a natural movement, and this is part of that strengthening action. And if you're going to do any work where you're going to take your knuckles, this is important to keep that wrist in that neutral place rather than have it flexing. If it flexes, this is very weak, it can cause a lot of strain. So, stress balls, and when you do the contraction, it's just a slow, and slowly release. You can build up the number of those as you build the strength and endurance. You can progress that to get special grippers. The grippers are actually loaded to different weights, so you can get easy, moderate and hard. And some of them even have that they are equal to a certain amount of kilogram resistance. When you hold it in a comfortable way. And the same thing, you're just trying to slowly squeeze, and then release. Keeping that good neutral wrist position. Careful not to let it flex or overly extend. That way you're going to build up that stability all around the wrists. So grippers and stress balls are a good way to build that strength as well. Now the next way is to start to build load tolerance through your wrists. So if you come onto hands and knees, you can do this by having the hands a little forward. Take your little tiger claws, but this time doing it with the palms flat, so it's just the tip pressing. So, when you do the tiger claws, keep the hands flat, but just do that little tip grip, fingers spread. So hands a little bit forward, tiger claw action, elbows turned in. You're going to shift the weight, increase that resistance into the wrists, and come back. You can do that a few times. You could challenge it by making small circles. So that changes the angle through the joints. Again, just make sure it always feels comfortable and stable and in control. Obviously, you can challenge it by using one arm. So these are different ways of getting the load. Another thing that you can do is change the angle of the hands as well. You know, when you take the loads in different ways, you can feel how it works. Even backwards, this can increase. This one also creates quite a lot of stretch. Now, the counter position is to flex the wrist, and you can just try seeing how that feels to take a very light load in the counter. This is quite a lot stronger, so you need to be a bit careful with this one. Again, you're just building up gentle load tolerance and stretch to the wrists over time. As you do this, the same thing to try to counter the actions, you're just lightly extending the fingers out into the floor as you're taking that load. So the fingers are stretching out into the floor. And that helps to build up that wrist tolerance. Make sure after you've done that, relax your wrist, do your circles, make sure it's comfortable, and if you've been doing a lot of action this way, you can just do some gentle counter stretches. If you're doing a lot of action this way, you could do gentle counter stretches the other way. So it's always about trying to bring it back to that nice, comfortable feeling. Once you've got mastery over all of these, obviously you can start to build the tolerance into your wrist through different activities. So your push-up position, the knees up. So these can all start to challenge, and you can even begin to load it by bringing your bottoms up. So if you place your legs up onto a chair or a bench or something that's a bit lifted, and lift your tails up and heads down. So this helps to start to build more tolerance, as you're taking more load through the wrist. So it's like it's progressing towards like a handstand position. But it always comes back to remembering to use your fingers in those tiger claws and progress it slowly so it always feels comfortable and in control. Thank you for today. That's from me. That's all from me today. James Bone at Yoga Plus Therapies, and hope to see you next time with our next segment on some part of the body that we might need to strengthen. Namaste.